Hi, friends. Welcome again to another episode of Beyond the Clouds Edge to Edge Transformation. Every once in a while, I come across people who have multiple avatars. Reagan, tell us about how you became the Reagan we all know today.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Raegan Brown. I self-proclaim artist, multimedia artist. I'm from Tampa, Florida, and as someone who identifies as a Black artistic queer woman in tech living in Los Angeles, I think that my work and everything that I want to do around me kind of celebrates the power of identity and creative expression within my community. So my journey kind of started as a computer science major when coming into like the technical field. I actually got my dual bachelor's of science in computer science and computer engineering from North Carolina A&T State University and Spelman College. Those are HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. And then I actually recently graduated last year with my master's degree in computer science with a focus on multimedia and creative technologies. As someone who does identify as an artist, and someone who is also a technologist, I've always wanted to find ways to be a storyteller and utilize art and tech in harmony to share that with others because I think that we're all storytellers. So now I am a software and optimization systems and software optimization engineer at Intel, as well as I do community work as a creative technologist at GRX Immersive Labs. And that is a Black-owned XR film production company here in LA. We teach Unreal Engine foundations and virtual production concepts to our diverse communities and storytellers. And, I really aspire to extend my love for creating immersive experiences and empowering people of color and the LGBTQ community to kind of harness their own creative stories.
So, Reagan, clearly you have such a strong, deep background in art, in animation, and all kinds of things that are considered artistic. What made you choose, in addition to all that, to be a computer engineer as well as a computer scientist and work in optimization? Those are considered very left brainy. How did you
Mhm.
decide to do this and that?
What really inspired me from start was like, how am I going to make money? Like, and do what I love. Um, and so when it came to dealing with like computers from a computer science and a computer engineering standpoint, I wanted to figure out, okay, what is it that I really, really like in this realm? And so I was like, well, I might as well learn the front end and the back end because, both of them can be useful in wherever my journey takes me. And I've actually noticed that, being able to be knowledgeable about the front end and the back end has helped me a lot in my career. I think a lot of the times I felt like I had to separate my love for art and my love for technology because I was just like, I don't want to be a broke artist. Through the people that I've met, through my community, through the experiences that I've been able to be a part of, I've learned slowly how to integrate those two passions into one. And it's been very rewarding. I learn a lot about myself from the people around me and my mentors. If I find one thing that glimmers a light in this is how you can express yourself creatively through technology, I run towards it. And that's why I decided to, get into both computer science and computer engineering so that I can have a holistic idea of it and make educated decisions on where I want to go further with it.
That's cool. Since your focus is on creating platforms using AI, creating all kinds of visual art, how did you decide on Intel? And by the way, I love Intel. I worked twice for Intel, enjoyed it a lot. But I was a chip designer. What got you into Intel, and how has that experience been for
Intel s- really helped me along my college career. I'm going to give a short anecdote. When I was, let's say, a sophomore in college, under my second degree, I went up to an Intel table because I was like, okay, I want to be serious about, getting a job in technology. And so I went up to the table, and Lee Phillips was there. He was currently, I think, at the Chandler office, and we had a really in-depth talk. Now, mind you, my I was a transfer student. I didn't have an established GPA at the time. And so after we had a conversation, he was like, "Hand me your resume." And I was a little sheepish because, I wasn't necessarily confident in, my GPA at the time. And he looked at me and he said, I want you to change your GPA to a 3.0 on your resume and give it to me. And I was like, what? And this is after like a conversation that we had. I showed a lot of interest in Intel. And I got a call a couple of weeks later, like Intel wants to give you an internship and a scholarship. And I think that really motivated me and pushed me to, you know, really deep dive into this. And I became more confident in myself when it came to the technical realm. And my first internship with Intel, like, I think really changed me as a student. I, graduated summa cum laude. I had graduated with like a 3.9. I continued to do internships with Intel for about 3 years. And then I actually got a scholarship with Intel through the GEM Consortium program, which is for engineers. They paid for my master's degree. And so they paid for my undergrad, and they paid for my master's degree. They really are investing in me, and I was really appreciative. Also, something that I appreciated there was there were a lot of leadership of color there that, I looked up to and I could see as role models. There was representation there. When it comes to being an inclusive leader, an executive, there needs to be people that look like everyone in leadership. You need to have representation when it comes to what your leadership looks like. Checks and balances to make sure that everyone is seen and heard. And that made such a difference to me being able to see people who look like me and people who didn't even look like me in places of power that can enact change. So I was really motivated to work with Intel.
And I can testify, having worked twice with Intel, it was definitely one of the most exciting places to work at. And you showed us a demo of something that was really cool at the Intel Innovation. Can you get into that? What kind of technology are you working on lately?
Okay, cool. So I like to consider myself a creative technologist, so I touch a lot of different applications on the regular, one of them being Unity, which is a game engine. I used to use Unity a lot in my game development courses back at USC. And so what I was actually demoing was a software collaboration between Intel's AI game development toolkit and procedural worlds and their world generation system called Gaia. And so through that software collaboration, they created Gaia ML, which lowers the barrier of entry for developers to be able to create these great, luscious, complex game worlds with ease in a matter of minutes, but also kind of getting some first steps and some first trial at learning how to do AI programming in a Unity ecosystem. And so what was on the screen was pretty much I went through the process of how to build the game worlds really quickly, which is super useful for those who are not only interested in game dev and like creating their own worlds in game dev, but even if you're interested in like virtual production, and in media and creating your own 3D environments for the purposes of that, super useful. And then also the Intel AI Game Dev Toolkit showcases using in-game object detection and being able to build your own AI inference models using in-game object detection, as well as something called style transfer. So imagine if you have this awesome scene that you've created, but you want to kind of refresh the look, you want to kind of refresh the entire feel for your scene, but you don't want to go into like a bunch of redevelopment and using new models that all look different. You can put a style on top using the Intel distribution of the OpenVINO toolkit and generative adversarial networks, put a new style on top of that scene, and now you have a completely new environment. And so that, just think about how much time those types of tasks save you in game dev, where now I'm not focusing so much on I have to do these 3D models and pulling everything over, but now I can focus more on the things that matter to me, those scenes that are really going to make the difference in my story.
That's really amazing. And now, right behind you is an amazing piece of art. Is that just coincidental, or are you going to tell us a little bit about it?
I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. Okay, so about me, right? I actually refer to myself or refer to everything I do as the shell. SHE.LL. Think of the contraction she will, or for us computer nerds, think we code in a terminal shell. Back in college, I actually carried around a turtle backpack shell and became pretty known for that. And so it's become kind of this mantra of mine that everything I need and everything that has makes up my identity as a Black queer woman, artistic in the tech space, is within my shell. And so my first project when learning Unreal Engine was to create my own version of the shell. My dream is to have my own immersive museum that encompasses artistic and digital elements in one and bring in different artists from different backgrounds who are also within the creative digital spaces as well. And so this was my first cinematic piece that I actually did. It took me quite some time to learn. I actually was able to learn Unreal Engine through GRX Immersive Labs. They are a Black XR film production company here in LA, and they actually invested in me to learn Unreal Engine because they saw potential in me. It actually really changed my life, and the trajectory of my career and where I see myself in the future. So this is just kind of a testament to growth, my first project. I'm really, really proud of what it has become and what the shell is growing to be.
That's awesome. So that was your kindergarten project. Amazing.
My kindergarten project.
Is it just a picture or is it actually an animation video of some sort?
It's
Do
a
you
short
have it?
animation. I do have it.
Oh, well, can you play it for us?
I can.
That would be
I
so
can
cool.
play it for you. You have to be nice though, okay?
Of
Back
course.
then, I didn't really understand, lighting that well. This is only scene one. The premise and the background of it is my brain. It's the tale of these two sisters, left brain and right brain. They usually don't get along. I wanted to show the harmony of my left and right brain coming together and being able to find a place where they both belong together. It's like they go through a portal and fall out of the sky. So this was before I started picking up motion capture. So there is none of the actual talking. It's all interpretive. So this is like the more artistic version of myself. So this is like the personification of myself. Some of these pieces are actually mine, my paintings.
Really cool.
This is my painting here. That's my painting as well. the shell where immersive technology meets art. Thank you for allowing me to share that.
This is amazing, Reagan. I have no idea how you came up with this. Were you still in college when you did all this?
Yes, GRX Immersive Labs, they invested in me to learn Unreal Engine. Alton Glass is my mentor. Make a piece that really speaks to you. And this really spoke to me at the time. I'm in college trying to figure out what is my next move? How can I really enjoy what I do in the tech space, but still be true to my artist self? And this was a manifestation of that. It's something that speaks the most to my story, especially starting out. And I hope to evolve it over time since I've learned all of these new ways of better telling my story and I hope that this really grows into like its own series or something. I feel like people can relate to it.
Yes, of course. It's very symbolic and metaphorical. So you mentioned something about emotional capture. What exactly is it? Is it a technology or is it a way of doing things?
Motion capture. What I have been doing within the last year and a half is working a lot with motion capture, whether that be using an OptiTrack system, which is you have maybe 12 or 13 cameras around the room, and you're wearing a motion capture suit. So that suit has passive markers on it, passive meaning that they're reflecting light from the camera and not active, which active would be them emitting light. And so, based on the view from the cameras, you're able to create your own animations based off of the suit that we're using. And there's different types of suits, but the one that I've been using in the past is a passive bodysuit. And so I also like to do a lot of facial animations as well. I'm really into creating characters and making them speak. So some of the projects that I've been working on recently have been, experimenting with my friends, putting them in the suit and getting them on the MetaHuman Animator or Live Link application, and just creating fun stuff. So I really think that that is a way that people are able to tell their story, especially if they're in the cinematic space. There are new technologies, especially in the AI space, that allow people to use their phones to have access to motion capture animation work. And that saves a lot of time when not having to do animation by hand like we have had to do in the past. So I have some projects that I'm working on currently and have worked on in the past that show some of my motion capture work. I could definitely show that to you as well. One of the projects that I did last year, I actually had my own art show. I, to my friend, Jonathan Coleman, he sings very beautifully. And so I brought him into the studio. We put him in the motion capture suit using OptiTrack Motive software, and I was able to stream this directly into Unreal Engine. We used the Live Link. This was like last year, so before MetaHuman Animator came out. The facial animations could be a little clearer as technology evolves. Things start to look a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and play for you. We throw an event called It's a Vibe, and this is an example of that. Can you hear it? I also want to mention I've created people who are really in my life in here. So this is my fiance actually, and Delise, my godmother, she's the MC, so I utilize them as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
How y'all doing tonight? My name is Delise Aubrey, and I want to thank you guys for coming out to It's a Vibe. But before we get this show started, I want to give a shout out to Kazumi at the bar. And last but not least, I would like to bring an amazing young man to the stage. Everybody, welcome John
Hi everyone, my name is
Coleman.
John Coleman. I'll be singing the listener snippet of my favorite song. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, a song comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see. The road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, mm, Georgia, no peace I find. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Oh, mama, mama, I said, Georgia, no peace I find. Comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Thank you.
Wow, that was pretty cool. And you created this whole thing by all by yourself, and you
Yes,
recorded it live and then made an animation out of it.
yes.
Wow. Now tell us a little bit about this Unreal. What is Unreal and how does it work?
Unreal Engine is a game engine. Over time, the use case for it has evolved to span across industries. And so, what it allows you to do is something called real-time production. And it really helps out when doing development because you're able to see the changes that you want to make in real time. That has been used especially widely in the movie, film, and media and entertainment business as a virtual production. You don't just do animations or you don't just make games on it. You can have a mix between the digital and physical realm and elements using green screen work, the LED walls, Mandalorian a lot when, referring to Unreal Engine. What I've really found a joy in is creating my own short animated films. And so I've been able to experiment with world building, experiment with cinematic design, learn a lot about lighting, learn about motion capture work, learn how to do green screen work, doing live compositing with my virtual world and, filming my actual self, learning a lot about motion tracking as well. I think there's such a vast use case for it. And in all industries, people are starting to create their own virtual worlds in, the fashion space, digital e-commerce. People are creating festivals like the Fortnite, um, Travis Scott, Roblox, metaverse type, festivals. It's really valuable for people to know that this is free, this is accessible. The knowledge is out there on the internet. Having the opportunities to learn this type of technology and these types of platforms really gives people that opportunity to tell their own stories within their means. Um, but I'm not going to say that the learning curve is easy. It's not. It takes community to support in that learning process. There's Unreal Engine to me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell again.
In a
So
shell.
yeah,
Everything is a shell.
everything is a shell. Tell us a little bit about Unity. You mentioned Unity as again another platform or
Mhm.
engine.
That was my first experience with any type of game engine. In the past, I've done more VR experiences or augmented reality experiences and working with Unity. Now that I've had access to learning about procedural worlds and mask world generation, it opens up a great opportunity for game world creation there. I like both of them because of my love for cinematic design. I've leaned more towards Unreal Engine for those people who are programmers, know C sharp and want to be able to focus more on like the game logic and what's going on in the back end. I completely recommend Unity because that's where I did a lot of my programming work when dealing with game engines. With Unreal, I felt the difference there was you do have the opportunity to do more visual scripting with blueprints. And even if you aren't interested in maybe the blueprints aspect, you can do a lot of the manipulation, the sequencer and the level design. The level sequencer was during the cinematic design. So I think those are two different opportunities there.
And you mentioned that you're getting an opportunity to also serve people, create community. Can you get into that a little bit?
I continue to do community work with GRX Immersive Labs, and we teach students of all ages from middle to high school to, adults who are film directors, screenwriters, even, like I said, my fiance, she's actually into landscape and gardening. She was a part of the cohort and learned it for the aspect of like landscape visualization. And so what we do is a 6 to 10 week program teaching Unreal Engine concepts such as world building, dealing in blueprints, and cinematic design, lighting, professional development. So learning how to do a walk through a virtual environment with a client, how to use a GitHub repository or Perforce, some sort of source control, so that you are able to get into collaboration. And at the end of the program, you're actually given real world experience by doing a client project and creating your own virtual world, depending on what the track is. We also teach motion capture as well. And it's such a powerful thing because students are able to see what they can create, being able to touch technology in a way that they haven't before and tell their stories in a way they haven't before. We recently did a cohort earlier this year. Their client project was with the Latin Exorcist, which is a Latin screenwriting group that focuses on horror and super, super cool stuff. So each of the students created a virtual world and environment for their ultimate piece, and I can actually show you that. It makes me very happy because I don't really share my work with a lot of people. So thank you. In this role, I serve more as a creative director. Not only was I an instructor, but I did a lot of the correspondence between the technical team that ran the LED wall in the studio, S4 Studios. Thank you to you all, the students themselves who were the technicians of the project, as well as our client. So.
Hey, my name is Raegan Brown. I'm with GRX Immersive Labs. We are storytellers.
All right.
Under GRX Immersive Labs, and with support from the Handy Foundation, my partner Robert and I both had the incredible opportunity to teach a 6-week program on Unreal Engine foundations and virtual production. Our cohort consisted of diverse storytellers from different backgrounds, eager to explore the world of virtual production. Over the course of the program, they learned the essential principles and foundations of Unreal Engine, including working in editor, world building, blueprints, and sequencing. It was inspiring to witness their growth and passion throughout the journey. As the program reached its culmination, the storytellers embarked on the final project, creating a horror virtual environment for our client, the Latin Exorcist. The optional project titled How Do You Horror was sponsored by Blackmagic and their equipment, and we were fortunate to use the LED walls and technical equipment at S4 Studios, along with the expertise of their technical team to enhance the shoot. The virtual environments crafted by our talented cohort served as a captivating background for the production. It was actually also cool to see those who had a film and media and entertainment background use their skills in camera operation, lighting, and gripping throughout the shoot. This experience really highlighted the importance of diversity in film and media spaces. It's crucial for storytellers from underrepresented communities to have the knowledge and skills to tell their stories using these new technical tools. Virtual production opens up new frontiers for creative expression, and it's essential that diverse voices are heard and represented.
And so the final product was.
When it comes to the types of horror I like, I'd have to say I'm a big fan of the slasher genre.
Genre bending, psychological, and creature horror.
I like the thriller-esque horrors, the ones that kind of are a little bit more cerebral.
The type of horror that I gravitate to is sci-fi, cosmic horror, where people don't know who to trust.
I like horror where a group of humans have to face unstoppable killing machine.
There's something about there being a threat that is chasing you or following you.
Like I'm kind of going on a roller coaster.
The gore and the blood and the chase.
You think to yourself, what would I do if I was in that situation?
It is a cathartic experience.
Every horror story is uniquely tied to the filmmaker.
A lot of horror stories embrace that sense of otherness, the experience of feeling different, othered.
Giving us the opportunity to explore our individual trauma.
There's so many things in horror that haven't been done yet.
There's so many more stories from the Latin community.
We are inherently qualified to do this work.
We all come from different backgrounds
and different places.
But exploring these spheres
is what unites and excites us
as writers and filmmakers.
We are
the Latin exorcists.
When I think about Fellini, obviously. Ricardo! I'm so sorry. I was in makeup. I'm ready now.
Wow.
That was such a fun project to do. I really loved it just because it was one, all of these beautiful, diverse voices, storytelling in their own ways, students who had never touched Unreal Engine before, creating these beautiful, in-depth looking scenes. It's awesome.
The kind of things you've done is really amazing. And if money was not an issue at all, what would you be working on today?
The shell. This is what I would be working on, creating immersive experiences. I go to an immersive museum in every new state that I'm in, and I just would love to be able to creative direct and create an immersive museum for my community. I'd probably continue doing the Unreal Engine Foundations courses within that, creating a maker space also inside the shell is what I want to do too, because like I said, access is really important to me. There are a lot of these types of tools that people in our community would utilize if they knew that they could. What we do is we open up the motion capture studio to the students, and they come in there and they create their own things for their own projects. And so I want to create a space for people to enjoy the art, engage with the art, create their own art, so that they're telling their own stories. This is literally a representation of what I would make if money was not an issue.
Wow, that's so cool. I became one of the first bloggers at Cadence Design Systems and later at Synopsys, but I would not show my face. For the longest time, I would not show my face because I felt, people may think, oh, he's an Indian guy with a strong accent and so on. So I would put other people in front, and finally, a close friend of mine, she said, "You're a racist. You don't want to show your face, your accent. What the heck?" So that changed my mind, and here I am doing a video blog. And I said, it's okay to show my face and show who I am, and I don't have to hide it. In fact, I can be proud of it. So thank you for all the amazing work you're doing, and please continue to do that. Now, speaking of careers, you have gotten so many different experiences, unique experiences. If somebody wanted to do these kinds of things, how should they approach their career, whether it's in school or it's on the job or say even in mid-career? How can they get these kinds of enriching experiences?
That's a very, very good question. Well, there's a couple of elements that are going to play a part, and I'll just kind of break them down. If you're currently in school looking for those experiences, one, I would start to look for experiences that are in your community that fit just little parts of, where you find interest. Whatever interests you, run towards it. And so I started one on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like my best friend because I can find any and everybody in certain industries that I'm interested in talking to. And so one of the things I've always done is looking for potential mentors, people who have been in those spaces. I've reached out to them on LinkedIn, and I'm very honest about, what I want to do and where I want to go, and just talk to people. A lot of people were where you are at one point in their life, and they're willing to bestow knowledge. and opinions and ideas on how you can get to where you want to be. So that was one really big thing that I did, was scoured LinkedIn, really reached out to people. Another thing was, at one point, I didn't have all of these things on my resume. There were gaps. What people can do now, which is really awesome because we have things like ChatGPT, right? Is look for those jobs that you're potentially interested in. Maybe put in those job recs in ChatGPT and see what kind of skills, what kind of opportunities would I need to have in order to be qualified for something like this. I still do that today. If I'm looking at my resume and then I'm looking at, certain jobs that I may want in the future, I'll put my resume in comparison to a job rec and put it in ChatGPT. This is a great way to use AI to help you and see where the aligns are and then where are the gaps. Um, there are probably different organizations that are within the industry that you're interested in, like more community organizations, maybe ones that do volunteer events. Get that type of experience too. I'm a yes. If I see an opportunity in any place, I'm going to try it and see how it makes me feel. I'm always up for trying a different opportunity because if it presents itself, it obviously was meant to in that realm. For those who are interested in Unreal Engine, real-time production, virtual production, a great way to start, download the software, play with it. You don't have to be a connoisseur. You don't have to be super great at it immediately. These things take time. I think it took me a full year to feel even comfortable within Unreal Engine. YouTube University is a great free tool of learning, and reaching out to people, finding a community has helped so much, because I don't think I would have been able to learn this completely on my own. And so I'm putting myself out there as a resource to people who are interested in getting more involved, as a person in the community that is open to sharing any type of events that I see, conferences like Unreal Fest. You've got Cinegear, different community org events that you can also go to learn more. So there's a couple of different things you can do. I have so many.
We will share many of these resources and the links to them in the comment section or in the description of the video.
Awesome.
So would you ever consider becoming the president of the United States?
Never.
We would have another President Reagan. Why not?
I would never. Yeah, I've just recently kind of figured this out about myself. I wouldn't want to be the CEO or the president of a company or the nation. Not because I don't think I could. I see myself as a leader, but that's a headache. That's a lot to have to deal with, And I really want to focus more so on enjoying the experience as long as I can. And so even with the work that I do now, I see myself as someone who, like with the technical work, I keep so sacred to me because I still want it to be fun. I still want to enjoy it. I will always stay technical. I see myself also as maybe a director or a leader in whatever job that I do. Being head honcho, I'll support head honcho. Do not want to be the president.
It's so amazing to have that kind of self-awareness. And to people listening out there, we are always looking for diverse views, different ways of looking at things. Technology is changing. There is a lot of chaos, but chaos also creates amazing opportunities.
Yes.
I believe a lot of technologies today have democratized and made it much more accessible. And yet, many people don't know where to find them. So I'm grateful, Raegan, for you not only having discovered these things, you're sharing them freely with a lot of people. So all power to you. And to people out there, please come forward. We want to hear your stories. We want to see your animation. We want to see your work. And, that's what makes the world a fun place. So thanks again, Raegan.
Thank you so much for having me. I don't share my work. I actually keep it to myself. And this is a part of me coming out of my shell and being proud of, the work that I have done and the growth that I am experiencing because I'm a perfectionist. It's hard to come out there with your work and, be like, this is what I'm doing because you can be sensitive about it, but I'm very proud, especially to see my progress, my growth. And I think anybody out there who is beginning their journey or in earlier stages of their journey should feel empowered to keep going. It's not going to be perfect, but it's perfect because you did your very best.
It's about time you share, because sharing
Yeah.
is caring. You need to really share so that everybody can benefit out of it.